Yo, what's going on, everybody? It is your boy Fitzmonk TV here, aka GLauren33. I am back here today with your WWE NXT Great American Bash Night 1 review for you guys today. It is July 1st, 2020. We are officially halfway through 2020, which has probably been one of the most crazy years in all of our lifetimes, with everything that's gone on with the coronavirus, the social injustice, all the crazy things that have happened. Man, tonight was a great night of wrestling. July represents independence. July 4th is just a couple days away, and WWE's decided to bring back the Great American Bash to go up against AEW's Friday Fest. And tonight, the Great American Bash Night 1, in my opinion, it was a good or a great show. Doesn't really matter, but it was a really good show in my opinion. And it was headlined by a dream match, a match we've been waiting for so long. Sasha Banks and Io Shirai main evented with no commercial breaks. The only problem I had with Sasha Banks and Io Shirai tonight is I wish they got more time. They got about 15 minutes, which, you got to understand this was a TV main event. But the fact that they had no commercials really helped. If they had a commercial break in there, this would have really hurt this match. But the fact that they got 15 minutes with no commercial breaks and the ending could possibly set up more with this program, it was fantastic. It was fantastic. I just wish they could have gone 20 to 25 minutes, even 30 minutes. But they decided not to go down that direction because they had some other thing they're building for Great American Bash Night number 2. But all in all, I'm not going to sit here and complain. It was a really good show, and the match was fantastic. We also got a cameo by Ryu. Sasha Banks' dog, Ryu, made his WWE TV debut tonight. Sasha had a fantastic entrance. And the thing about it is, man, I always say this, Sasha Banks is the best female wrestler in the world. Io Shirai is one of the best wrestlers in the world. And when you put two of them together, especially on NXT, it's special. It really is special. Do you really think Vince would have gave us this match with no commercial breaks on the main roster? No, it would have been a great match on Monday Night Raw or SmackDown, but they probably would have only gave the match, 10 to 12 minutes with a commercial break in there. The fact that we got this match with no commercial breaks and it was on NXT worked so much better. Sasha Banks right now, she has been the best superstar in WWE since this pandemic started, especially when you don't have Becky, you don't have Charlotte, as much as I hate her, you don't have Ronda Rousey. All the injuries, all the people that are not coming to the tapings because of what's going on with COVID. Sasha has it easily, and I feel like this is undisputed, as Adam Cole would say. He has been the best superstar, in all of WWE since this pandemic started. Her in-ring work, everything she's been doing with the storylines she's been given has been top level. This is the summer of Banks. We got Sasha Banks versus Io Shirai tonight. We're gonna get Sasha Banks and Asuka at Extreme Rules, which I believe should be the main event of Extreme Rules. And hopefully this all leads to Sasha Banks and Bayley at SummerSlam next month in Boston. I read reports today that WWE is still planning to have SummerSlam in Boston at the Garden. I feel like that most likely will happen. I do live here in Boston, and with everything that's happened with the coronavirus, our state, Massachusetts, and most of the states in the East Coast have done a really good job, containing the virus. We've seen declining cases the last couple of weeks. I feel bad for the WWE superstars that live in Florida, because Florida is just a mess right now, and Texas, because it feels like, down there, the people just don't care about the virus, and you're seeing, more and more positive cases each and every single day as the virus continues to spread down there. But I feel like there's a really good chance we'll have SummerSlam up here in the Boston area, and Sasha versus Bayley should headline SummerSlam if that's what we're going for. I'm still not exactly sure if we're going to get at SummerSlam, because it seems like WWE, we haven't seen any real tension between Sasha and Bayley the last couple of weeks, but I feel like we're still going to get that match at SummerSlam, most likely. I think they're going to ramp up on the tension between the two in the next couple of weeks, especially with what's going on with the Asuka feud. But Sasha Banks and Io Shirai was spectacular tonight. Sasha had an amazing entrance. She came out in a vehicle. She had a red, white, and blue attire since, Great American Bash, July 4th, Independence Day. So the attire was really dope. Bayley was wearing Sasha's new chalk line jacket. I do have that jacket. I just got it a couple weeks ago. Amazing. And Sasha came out in the back of the car with Ryu, her dog, next to Bayley. So that was great, and it just seems like, when Sasha's working in NXT, she's able to be more like herself, and it makes sense. NXT is where Sasha started. The main rosters are so political and agenda driven. As great as Sasha is, and she is the best female wrestler in the world, it's just, up there. Vince has control over so much, and you guys have seen Vince's influence is showing and creeping into NXT a little bit. Tonight was a great show with NXT's Great American Bash Night 1, but still, man, I feel like more and more Vince's influence is slowly creeping into NXT because Vince wants NXT to destroy AEW in the ratings, and Triple H doesn't care about the ratings. He just cares about NXT, but Vince is just so selfish and egotistical. He just wants to destroy any competition that gets in his way. It annoys me. It really pisses me off a lot. And seeing Sasha on NXT compared to the main roster, it's like a whole different character. It's like a whole different person. She seems happy to be there, and she's having fun, and that's what matters at the end of the day. As long as you are having fun doing what you want to do, that's all that matters. Sasha did do an interview with Sports Illustrated earlier today talking about the Sammy Guevara situation, battling Io Shirai, and she's just an amazing person, and she's just, like I said, she's been the best thing coming out of this pandemic. If Vince doesn't see her as the best wrestler in the world, if Vince doesn't see her as a top star in the women's division now, the guy just, I say this all the time, Vince needs to go. If he can't tell by now that Sasha is one of, if not the best in that women's division, especially with Becky and Charlotte and Ronda not being there, the guy's just delusional. The guy's delusional, and he needs to be taken out as soon as possible. All right, I don't care what anybody says. All right. But we're gonna talk about Sasha and Io Shirai here. In a little bit. I just wanted to talk about my opening thoughts on the match on NXT's Great American Bash on here with the opening shoot. As you guys always know, we start with the opening shoot where I give you guys a little bit of an 6 to 7 minute opening on something that's on my mind. And coming out of this show tonight, Sasha Banks once again proves why she is the best female wrestler in the world. It was a fantastic match. It built towards Sasha and Asuka. Io and Sasha still look strong because you guys remember this was Io's first match as NXT Women's Champion since beating Charlotte and Rhea Ripley at NXT TakeOver in Your House. And Sasha, she's a women's tag team champion. You're building her up to go up against Asuka. She can't lose. So you had to make her look strong. You had Asuka make an appearance tonight, which I was not surprised at all. I legit predicted this on Monday that Asuka would interfere because, like I said, you need Sasha to look strong. You need Io to look strong. And coming out of this, Io looks strong, Sasha looks strong, and it continues building these programs. And if WWE wants to go down this direction, they could imagine Sasha Banks and Bayley versus Asuka and Io Shirai. They could make that a women's tag team champion match if they wanted to, or they could just make it a normal tag team match. It would help build towards Extreme Rules. You can use it to build more tension between Sasha and Bayley, as long as the plan for SummerSlam is still in the works. But there's a lot that WWE can do with this, but I have really no complaints about Sasha Banks and Io Shirai tonight. Once again, Sasha proved why she's the best female wrestler in the world tonight, and that needs to be crystal clear to Vince. If he doesn't see that, he is just delusional. It is just that straight and simple. All I wish Sasha and Io got more time. But we'll talk about Sasha and Io a little bit later. There was still a lot of other stuff that happened on the Great American Bash Night 1. We had Roderick Strong versus Dexter Loomis in a strap match. We also had a fatal 4-way match to determine Io Shirai's first contender for the NXT Women's Championship. We also had Rhea Ripley going up against Alicia and Robert Stone in a 2-on-1 handicap match. If Rhea Ripley lost, she would be forced to join the Robert Stone brand. So we'll discuss all that and more. Overall, the show was good tonight. I did enjoy it, especially because of how great Sasha and Io Shirai are. But we'll talk about that. Thank you guys for joining me here on the podcast. If you guys haven't checked out my Monday Night Raw review yet, it is live on the channel right now. We went into a lot of discussion about Extreme Rules, Sasha Banks and Asuka, Drew McIntyre and Dolph Ziggler, everything else going on Monday Night Raw. And outside of Sasha and Asuka, Raw is just a dumpster fire right now. None of the storylines really make sense. Bruce just sucks. He really does suck. You know, you're giving the Big Show 4 segments on a 3-hour show when we're not even seeing the younger talent, you know, get any time on the show whatsoever. You know, but that's what Vince wants, right? Vince wants to bring back the legends instead of focusing on the now generation. So if you guys haven't checked out the Monday Night Raw review, that is live on the channel. You guys are watching the NXT review right now. We will be back here with SmackDown on Friday. So keep you guys loaded with podcast content all week long here on the podcast, on the channel. If you guys are listening on Spotify or Google or Apple Podcasts, wherever you're listening to me, thank you guys for being a supporter of the channel. If you guys are new to the channel, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button and follow me down on social media. All right, but anyway, enough of me rambling. I just want to get those quick announcements out of the way. Let's get into it. Let's talk about NXT. So we're going to start off with the Fatal 4-Way Elimination match. This will determine Io Shirai's first contender for the NXT Women's Championship. Let me just drink a quick sip of my water. So we had Mia Yim versus Tegan Nox versus Candice LeRae and Dakota Kai. You can make debates for all 4 of these women why they deserve to be the #1 contender. All right, we've seen Mia Yim and Candice LeRae. They've been feuding out for the last couple months on NXT. Tegan Nox, she just had a women's tag team championship match with Shotzi Blackheart a couple weeks ago against Sasha Banks and Bayley. And Dakota Kai, she's been one of the best heels in the NXT women's roster. And going into this, like I said, I really had no complaints with either one of these 4 women winning. But if I had to pick one, I was going with Dakota Kai. You have built her up for months as a heel. You know, you ended her rivalry with Tegan Nox a couple of months ago, and it really looked like Dakota Kai, she had the most momentum. Candice LeRae and Mia Yim have been feuding. Their feud hasn't ended yet. Basically, you know their program was going to continue, and it was announced tonight that next week Candice LeRae and Mia Yim will be facing off on NXT television in a street fight for the Great American Bash Night 2. So you know their rivalry was going to continue. And Tegan Nox, if you guys didn't know, I am a big Tegan Nox fan. She's one of my favorites in NXT's women's division. I do want to see her continue to get pushed, but out of all 4 of these ladies, I saw Tegan Nox as being the most unlikely to win this match, just because she just had a women's tag team championship match last week, and I just didn't see her winning it. You know, I'm just being honest. I thought this was either going to go to Dakota Kai or Candice LeRae. But early on in the match, Candice LeRae took a back elbow from Tegan Nox into a corner big boot from Dakota Kai. And then Mia Yim hit her with the Protect Your Neck for the first elimination. So LeRae got eliminated pretty quickly. So then we see Dakota Kai. She's fighting off both Yim and Tegan Nox here. And then there was a miscommunication where Nox was hit by Soul Food. Kai snuck in with the O'Connor roll on Mia Yim. Mia Yim got eliminated. So here we are We have Dakota Kai, we have Tegan Nox. These two have been feuding for months. Dakota Kai did win the rivalry, so this was a good continuation of a very bitter rivalry between these two. And Raquel Gonzalez, she did get banned from ringside, so now Tegan Nox, now that Raquel's not there, she could focus having a one-on-one match with Dakota Kai. I thought Dakota Kai would still win, doing some kind of sneaky heel roll-up, something like that, maybe foot on the rope, but Tegan Nox got the shiniest wizard on Dakota Kai. This was really good back and forth. This went into like the first 30 minutes of the show. It actually went longer than Sasha Banks and Bayley. And you guys know NXT did have limited commercials tonight, so definitely the match got time. And definitely after she hit that shiniest wizard, I got hyped because I was very, very surprised. I did not think Nox was gonna win. You know, Io Shirai, she is a baby face. I thought it would make the most sense to have Io Shirai go up against Dakota Kai, which has been, you know, she's been built up as probably the best heel in the NXT Women's Division as of late. So I thought it would make the most sense here. But Nox gets the win, and Nox will challenge Io Shirai for the NXT Women's Championship sometime in the foreseeable future. I don't know when the next TakeOver event is. I don't know. Remember, there was supposed to be NXT TakeOver Boston in SummerSlam weekend, but I don't know if that's gonna happen. You know, I already talked about they are trying to do SummerSlam in Boston at the TD Garden. I just don't know if all those other events are gonna unfold. You know, they want to do the Hall of Fame SummerSlam weekend, and you know, most of the events that got canceled on WrestleMania weekend, I'm not sure if those events are going to take place, but we'll just see. But if that match, or if TakeOver doesn't take place SummerSlam weekend, they'll probably do something at the Performance Center or Full Sail, something like that. But to be honest, SummerSlam is still like what, a week and a half or a month and a half away. We still have like what, 6-7 weeks till SummerSlam anyway, so they might do the match before then. You know, I don't think Tegan Nox and Io Shirai really need that much build. And like I said, I am a fan of Io, or I love Io and Tegan Nox. I've really grown on Tegan Nox these last couple months, especially during her rivalry with Dakota Kai. And I think Tegan Nox definitely has some potential. I think she will one day become a women's champion. I just don't know when that will be. I don't see her beating Io Shirai, especially when she just won the title. So it's definitely going to be a really good match between Tegan Nox and Io Shirai. I just don't see Nox taking the title offer. Will they turn Tegan Nox into a heel for Io? You're not turning Io into a heel. You know, so it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting to see what happens. But Tegan Nox gets the victory here. Really good fatal 4-way elimination match to open the show. Went into the first 30 minutes. I wish Sasha and Io got 30 minutes, but still, I'm not going to complain here. Tegan Nox gets the victory, and we'll see how they build towards Io and Nox in the coming weeks. Next up, we had Orly Lorcan versus Timothy Thatcher. Before the match, we had Damian Priest. If you guys remember a couple weeks ago on NXT, Cameron Grimes took out the tires of Damian Priest's car. So these two have been feuding. So later on the night, Cameron Grimes did accept the match with Damian Priest, and I believe that's taking place next week on Great American Bash Night number 2. This was a really, really good match. This was very physical. Two really good technician grapplers just going at it. This was a really classic wrestling match. All right, Thatcher wore down the left arm of Lorcan, and Lorcan just kept getting back up, but eventually he ran out of energy against Thatcher. Thatcher locked in the Fujiwara armbar and forced the tap out. So Timothy Thatcher continues his run. He's been very, very high on momentum, especially since he defeated Matt Riddle before Riddle got caught up to SmackDown last month. So Timothy Thatcher gets the win here. I don't know. Maybe they're, pushing him towards the NXT North American title. I don't know. I'm not the biggest Timothy Thatcher fan. He is great. He is really good in the ring. But I'm just not sure where they're going with him. He is on this huge string of momentum. Maybe they could feud him with Finn Balor. That would definitely be something really interesting. But we'll just have to wait and see what happens there between Timothy Thatcher as he picks up the victory here tonight. All right. This might be one of my only negative, maybe the only negative thing I have to say about this show tonight. We had Rhea Ripley, this was announced last week, we had Rhea Ripley go up against Robert Stone and Aliyah in a 2-on-1 handicap match. And if Rhea Ripley lost, she would be forced to join the Robert Stone brand. And, okay, where are you? This all goes back to Charlotte Flair. Let's be serious. Let's be honest here. This all goes back to Charlotte Flair. None of this happens if Charlotte Flair doesn't win the Women's Royal Rumble. I've said this how many times? Charlotte should have never won the Women's Royal Rumble to begin with. Should have never won the Women's Royal Rumble. It should have been Shayna Baszler. And, I'm going to make a quick sidetrack. I was thinking about making a legit extra, a separate video on this subject, but might as well talk about it now since we're talking about Charlotte and Rhea Ripley. Becky Lynch came out. Becky Lynch was on the Bellas podcast. Becky, Nikki, and Brie are all pregnant right now. Nikki and Brie are due to have their babies, I think, either this month or next month, whatever. But Becky revealed on the podcast that her and Seth have been trying for the last couple months to get pregnant. At first, Becky thought, motherhood would be something she would do after she was done with wrestling, but she figured out that she really wanted to have a baby now, and her and Seth started trying, and they got successful really early. And the plans that they had was Becky was planning to go to management. She went to management and said, I want to drop the title to Shayna Baszler at WrestleMania. And you guys remember how much I talked about this way back in the spring, how Becky needed to drop the title to Shayna. It had to happen. This would develop a new star. Becky would, and at the time, we didn't even know Becky was pregnant. But now, knowing what we did know, this would establish Shayna Baszler as a star. Shayna Baszler being one of the longest reigning NXT Women's Champions of all time. She should have won the Women's Royal Rumble, dominated Becky at WrestleMania, and then that would have, just let Becky be able to go off into the sunset, go have her child, happy ending for everyone. You create a new star in Shayna Baszler who, dominates Becky, ends Becky's 1 year as Raw Women's Champion, right? That would have been incredible. Building new stars. How about that? What an interesting concept, right? WWE building new stars. Something WWE doesn't know how to do anymore. Because, let's just bring back Ric Flair. Let's bring back Big Show. Let's bring back Christian. Come on. So here we are, right? WWE denied that request, and this pisses me off. So when Becky beat Shayna at WrestleMania, I blame this on Becky. After reading this interview with Becky on the Bellas podcast, my tune has changed. Becky actually wanted the women's division to succeed. I've stated for the last couple of months that Becky was selfish. Let's be serious here. I've been saying this for months. Becky should have lost that title not only to Shayna. She should have lost that title to Sasha Banks at Hell in a Cell last year. That you guys remember, that's when I started changing my tune on Becky, and I looked at her as selfish. But now my tune has changed. Just reading this. Now I blame this on WWE. I blame this on Vince. I blame this on management for not wanting to create new stars. If WWE knew that Becky was pregnant before WrestleMania, we discussed this, because we don't know, or we didn't know at the time when Becky left, when WWE knew that Becky was pregnant, right? We did not know. But now that WWE knew, it's been confirmed that WWE knew Becky was pregnant before WrestleMania. You still had Becky wrestle Shayna at Mania pregnant, even though she was in her very early stages of the pregnancy. You had Becky wrestle Shayna at WrestleMania. You had her win clean. And we haven't seen Shayna Baszler since. All right, Shayna Baszler is no longer special. We have not seen Shayna Baszler since the Money in the Bank, when she didn't even make it to the roof of WWE's headquarters. You could have developed a new star right there. And if you wanted to, when Becky comes back next year, if she chooses to come back, which I think she will, you could pick up right where you left off and continue Shayna versus Becky, with Becky coming back to get payback on Shayna. But instead, no, you decided to have Becky win clean, knowing that she was pregnant. And the thing about it is, you had Becky hold the Raw Women's title for a whole nother month after that. If you guys remember, after WrestleMania, we didn't see Becky from the night after WrestleMania till the Raw after Money in the Bank, when they had her give the title to Asuka. This shows how dumb WWE is. And I'm willing to bet Paul Heyman wanted to do something unique, but Vince was like, no, keep the title on Becky. Let's do the Money in the Bank thing. And even though I found the way they had Becky announce her pregnancy and giving the title to Asuka in the Money in the Bank briefcase, I found it unique. But this pisses me off a little bit more now that I know that Becky knew that she was pregnant before Mania and she wanted to drop the title to Shayna at Mania. And here's the thing, even if you didn't want to give the title to Shayna Baszler, you could have done so much better. You could have done so much better. Why did you just do a tournament? And the thing is, Becky revealed in the podcast after her request to drop the title to Shayna at Mania was denied, she actually said, why don't you do a tournament? And then have Becky present the winner of the tournament to be the Raw Women's Champion. Really? Would that have been so hard? JD, me, and other podcasters in the community said this. Because there were some people that were unhappy with how Asuka won the title. I didn't have a problem with it, but now looking back, especially now hearing what Becky said, and the fact that WWE knew she was pregnant and didn't want to give Shayna the title, why didn't you just do a tournament? You could have done a number one contenders tournament, could have done Bianca Belair, could have put Liv Morgan, Ruby Riott, all these names that you don't use. One thing that's great about tournaments, especially in wrestling, it helps create new stars. Remember the King of the Ring tournament last year with Baron Corbin? We all hate Baron Corbin now, but at the time, Baron Corbin was fantastic in that King of the Ring tournament. And we all developed a new level of respect for him. Why didn't you do that here with the Raw Women's division? You could have done a tournament, Bianca Belair, you could put Ruby Riott, Liv Morgan, Shayna Baszler, you could put Nia Jax, Asuka, Kairi Sane, it could be a 6 woman, 8 woman, whatever, how many people you want. It doesn't even have to be a very large tournament. But damn, 6-8 woman tournament, have the winner, become the number one contender, but at the end, no. The number one contender is actually the Raw Women's Champion. How unique, how great would that be? That would be fantastic. Becky comes out and she gives the winner. And it doesn't matter if it was Asuka or Shayna Baszler or somebody else, right? No one would be complaining about how that individual became Raw Women's Champion. Because they won the tournament. They earned the right to be called champion. And it would have made that moment so much better. But instead, WWE doesn't want to create new stars. Instead, you want to go with the whole same old rinse, repeat formula. Have Shayna be buried, because Shayna's dead now. We haven't seen Shayna since Money in the Bank. And now look at your Raw Women's division. Now, as great as Sasha Banks is, and she's the best female wrestler in the world, now you force Sasha to come over from SmackDown to feud with Asuka for the Raw Women's Championship. A title that, Sasha shouldn't even be competing with. I'm not complaining at the end of the day, but let's be serious here. Yes, Sasha is the women's tag team champion. She can be on any show she wants, and she's fantastic, and she's doing the best work of her career. But at the end of the day, if someone says it doesn't make sense for Sasha to challenge for a title for a brand that she's not even, on full time, come on. Common sense here. Sasha's on SmackDown. At the end of the day, yes, you can use the women's tag team title excuse, but, if someone tells me Sasha should not be competing for the Raw Women's title since she's on SmackDown, I'm not gonna, say no. I'm not gonna sit there and say you're wrong, because in actuality, they're correct. They're right. It's common sense here, WWE. It's really common sense. And I just went on the whole 5-minute spiel talking about Becky. You guys are wondering, where does that lead to? How does that have to deal with Charlotte and Rhea Ripley? Well, all things go back to Charlotte, because she's the golden child. First off, Shayna Baszler should have never been buried. Shayna Baszler should have won the Women's Royal Rumble. Charlotte should have never won the Women's Royal Rumble. Charlotte should have never went up against Rhea Ripley at WrestleMania. Charlotte honestly shouldn't even had a title match at WrestleMania. She didn't deserve it. I don't care how good Charlotte is. Charlotte, what? Because she's the golden child, she has to be in a championship match at Mania every single year? Let's be serious here for a sec. Charlotte should, if you wanted her to go up against a legend, if you wanted her to go up against Beth Phoenix or Trish Stratus or Lita or something like that, fine. Who gives a crap? Who gives a crap? But instead, you have Charlotte go up against Rhea Ripley, and you don't even let Rhea Ripley win. Rhea Ripley has lost all of her momentum. All of that. Rhea Ripley should still, as much as Io Shirai is great, Rhea Ripley should still be the NXT Women's Champion. She should have never lost that title. She should have beat Charlotte at WrestleMania. But no, Charlotte's the golden title. She always needs to have a championship on her shoulder. So we're going to bury Rhea Ripley. And everyone that said Rhea Ripley's not buried, she's going to come out looking more of a star than ever. Look at Rhea Ripley. Well, look at Rhea Ripley. She lost at NXT TakeOver in your house. She wasn't even in the Fatal 4-Way. If WWE wanted to, they could have easily made it a Fatal 5-Way tonight to determine Io Shirai's first #1 contender for the NXT Women's Championship. But it was a Fatal 4-Way. Rhea Ripley wasn't even in the match. She was in a 2-on-1 handicap match with Robert Stone and Elijah. Or I'm always saying her name wrong. All right. Alila. All right. Here's the thing. Robert Stone, yeah, look, I understand you can't always have, badass characters like a Sasha Banks, like a Keith Lee, like an AJ Styles, like an Adam Cole, like a Daniel Bryan. You can't always have those badasses, right? You need characters that are kind of jokes, that, are not really taken seriously. You need characters that are viewed as comedians. You need that, because at the end of the day, wrestling is also an entertainment. You need, characters that are just there for laughs. I hate the Iconics, but I'm not gonna lie, the Iconics are kind of funny. They're, even though they're cancerous with their voice and they're terrible in the ring, they're funny at the end of the day. If they had their own comedic show, maybe I would watch it. Robert Stone is one of those characters. He's not a guy that's meant to be taken seriously. But my problem here is Rhea Ripley is supposed to be a badass. Rhea Ripley should not be wasting her time in a feud with Robert Stone and Aliyah, and if Ripley loses, she's forced to join the Robert Stone brand. Rhea Ripley should be fighting for NXT Women's Championships. I don't know where you go with Ripley. I would love to see Ripley built back up, and then maybe down the line we get a Ripley versus Io Shirai match, and maybe Ripley becomes NXT Women's Champion once again. Like I said, she should have never lost that title to begin with, but I don't know. I don't know if we're going to see Rhea Ripley built back up. She won tonight. It would have been a travesty. I would be a lot more angry if Ripley lost. But this all goes back to Charlotte. Ripley's momentum was ruined when she lost to Charlotte, and Ripley has not recovered. Like I said, you sent Charlotte down the NXT to elevate the NXT Women's Division, and she did nowhere close to that. She didn't elevate anybody but Charlotte Flair. She didn't elevate the championship. She didn't elevate the brand. She didn't elevate the ratings. She didn't even elevate the superstars. She went down there to elevate Charlotte Flair. Sasha Banks, on the other hand, the best female wrestler in the world, whenever she's on NXT, right, she elevated Tegan Nox. She elevated Shotzi Blackheart. She elevated Io Shirai tonight. which we'll talk about a little bit more in a little bit. But Charlotte Flair never did that. That's the reason why we don't want to see Charlotte Flair. She's only there to elevate herself. She wasn't even pinned at NXT TakeOver in your house. Like, I'm just over here spitting facts. I'm just over here giving you guys the truth like I always do. It's disgusting. It truly is disgusting. All right. But back to Ripley. I don't know what you do with her now. You know, maybe if you want, you can feud Rhea Ripley with Dakota Kai. Since Dakota Kai did lose the Tegan Nox tonight, if you want, you can, you know, have Ripley feud with Gonzalez or Dakota Kai. I honestly feel like, you know, and I kind of hope I'm wrong, but if you look at it, if WWE doesn't bring back, you know, Shayna Baszler and Bianca Belair, which would be a travesty, I don't know. I would not be surprised if they bring up Rhea Ripley to the main roster. You know, Ripley's not doing anything serious. I want to see Ripley back in the NXT Women's Championship hunt, but I would not be surprised if Ripley's brought up to the main roster, especially, you know, with SummerSlam weekend coming up in about a month and a half. We always know that a couple of NXT superstars make the jump, and there has been a lot of talk about, you know, the Undisputed Era and some of the other superstars being brought up to the main roster. Ripley, it could happen. It really could happen, you know. I don't know really how I feel about that. I don't know if Vince would treat her correctly. They would probably bring Ripley up just to feud with Charlotte Flair again. I don't know. But the thing about it is, I'm trying to see where they're going to go with Ripley. Ripley should not be feuding with Robert Stone. If you want to have Robert Stone, like I said, you need jokester, you know, characters. Not everyone can be serious. Not everyone can be a badass like Ripley is. But Ripley should not be wasting her time in a meaningless feud that no one gives a shit about with Robert Stone. It's just the honest truth. You guys know I'm always brutally honest. I don't know where Ripley goes from here. You know, you could, you know, build her back up for the NXT Women's title. You know, you could feud her with Dakota Kai, or you could bring her up to the main roster. It's one of those three things. We'll just have to wait and see where they go with Ripley. You guys know I'm a big Rhea Ripley fan, and I want to see her succeed. We'll just have to wait and see. Rhea Ripley did pick up the victory here. Like I said, I would have ripped this so much more if Ripley had lost, but luckily I don't have to do that. Moving on, we had the strap match between Roderick Strong and Dexter Loomis. This was really good. All right, they've been building towards this for weeks now. Dexter Loomis and his constant stalking of Roderick Strong. Roderick Strong was supposed to have a match with Dexter Loomis a couple weeks ago on NXT, but he got scared and ran away. Hence the strap match tonight. So Strong could not run. So we had the match tonight. Strong attacked Loomis before the bell. The bell would not ring until both men had the strap on. So after Loomis put the strap on, Strong decided not to and attacked Loomis. But eventually Loomis hit Strong from behind, forcing the strap on to his enemy. So Loomis, man, you guys know he is a brawler here, and with the whole situation, we thought Loomis was gonna, you know, team up with the Velveteen Dream and go after the NXT Tag Team titles. But right now, you know, things are not looking good for Velveteen Dream. You know, there has been reports that WWE could be planning to release him. You guys also know that he was in a car accident last week, and there is a potential DUI for Dream, so we don't know what's going on with him, but it looks like those plans have been scrapped, you know, at least for right now. And, you know, it doesn't look like, at least at the moment, that Dream will be staying in NXT much longer, and that really sucks. But when you do stupid things, these are the types of consequences you have to face. But Strong was finally able to get some punishment here on Loomis. It looked like he was able to get over his fears. We saw Strong, he whipped Loomis into the strap repeatedly, overcoming his fear with a bunch of trash talk. Then we see Bobby Fish come out to support his Undisputed Era stablemate. Then we see Roderick Strong hit a running knee, but Loomis kicked out at 2.5. Then we see Loomis. He was able to trick Strong into running into his friend Bobby Fish, and then Loomis locks in the silence with the strap around Strong's mouth for the tap out. This was really good. I knew it was going to be really good. I really love the character of Dexter Loomis, and I love his brawling fight style in the ring. Like I said, in wrestling in general today, there's just so many great wrestlers. So many great wrestlers. That's not the problem with pro wrestling. One of the big problems is we don't have enough characters. Wrestling is not just about what you do in the ring. It's about the characters and the storylines. That's what gets us invested in. Why do you think I love Sasha Banks so much? She's the full package. Not only is she the best in the ring, but her legit boss character is incredible. She has the look. She has the charisma. Every time you see her on camera, you're like, that's a star. That's a character I want to get invested into. Look at AJ Styles. Look at The Fiend Bray Wyatt. I compare Dexter Loomis to The Fiend. That would be an amazing feud if we ever see Dexter Loomis come to the main roster. I don't think he's leaving NXT anytime soon, but Dexter Loomis, man, he's a great wrestler. And the thing is, he has a brawling style. Too many superstars today have a simple technician style. You know what I mean? Like, they're really good in the ring, but they're not, there's just not much to their characters. Oh, they're just a great wrestler. Like, okay, almost everybody in WWE is a great wrestler. Unless you're like, you suck, like Tamina Snuka or Nia Jax or Lacey Evans. If you're trash like that. But almost everybody in WWE is a great wrestler. That's not enough for me to get invested into. You can put on 5-star classics every single night, but you're not going to get me invested into, into your character. Unless you are an actual character. Unless you bring something to the table that's going to make me like, I like this superstar. I want to see where he's going to go. Dexter Loomis is that guy. He has a unique fighting style, and his character is freaking amazing. He barely shows raw, emotion. Barely shows any emotion, but in the ring, he's going in to kick your ass. All right, and his charisma and his style just works so well. I don't think his feud with Roderick Strong and the Undisputed Era is over yet, but like I said, it's kind of confusing to see where things are going to go. All right, it's confusing to see where things are going to go because we don't know what's happening with this winner take all match next week. And speaking of that, this is a good transition into that. The Loomis and Strong match was great. Right after the match, they showed us a video package for Keith Lee and Adam Cole, which will be taking place next week. The Great American Bash night number 2. North American and NXT Championship titles are on the line. And like I said, I don't know who to go with. Keith Lee seems like the perfect person to end Adam Cole's 1-year reign as NXT champion. But you could easily just make the case for Adam Cole to also be a double champion as well. He was the very first NXT North American champion. He's one of, if not the greatest NXT champion of all time. He is the longest reigning NXT champion of all time. But I've been saying for months that Keith Lee is the perfect guy to take the title off him. But is there enough of a story there? I feel like, honestly, the only reason why this is happening is Vince wants this to go up against AEW. We knew that originally we were supposed to get Jon Moxley versus Brian Cage for the AEW World Championship next week for Fyter Fest Night 2. And this match was supposed to go up against that. And I feel like Vince wanted it. Vince is the king of winner take alls. How many times do you see it? Remember, we saw Kofi Kingston versus Seth Rollins in a winner take all after WrestleMania last year. Remember the winner take all between Becky, Ronda, and Charlotte? Now we're seeing it in NXT. This seems like a Vince McMahon idea. I don't see Triple H. And it's not that I'm against it, but I don't really understand why they're doing it. Like I said, if Adam Cole or Keith Lee wins, I'm not going to complain. It's going to be a bigger story if Keith Lee wins, because he will be ending the 1-year reign of Adam Cole. If Adam Cole wins, I wouldn't be surprised none the least. Because, you can build up Keith Lee to eventually take that title off him. Honestly, I still don't know who to win. If I had to pick a winner, right now, I would go with Adam Cole. But honestly, I feel like we're gonna see a disqualification, probably by Karrion Kross. I feel like that's gonna happen. There's so many ways it can go with this, right? How long is this? If they do go with Cole or Lee, if one of those two do win, right, and we have them as a double champion, are they going to defend 2 titles at the next takeover? Is that what we're going to see? Are they going to defend 2 titles at the next takeover event? Or are they going to do something different? Like, does WWE have an actual plan here? Or are they just doing this to go up against Fyter Fest? Like, I don't know. I want to trust Triple H here, but there's so many different directions that this can go. If I had to pick a winner, I'm going with Adam Cole. All right? I feel like they're going to save Adam Cole losing that championship for when we get back to some kind of normal, when we get some kind of crowd back in NXT. No matter if that's SummerSlam or somewhere, further down the line. I do agree Adam Cole does need to lose the NXT champion. As great as Adam Cole is, he's been champion for 1 year. There's not many, other people that you can have him go up against other than Keith Lee. But I just feel like they're going to make it a bigger deal when Cole loses that title. If Keith Lee wins, it will be a huge story, and I won't be super surprised. But if I had to make a pick right now, I would go with Adam Cole. But my thought, the way I see this happening, I think that Karrion Kross is going to interfere. Because like I said, what do you do if you make Cole or Lee a double champion? Are they going to defend the title twice? I don't know. I really don't know. It's a very interesting situation. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens. But they did show like a 5-minute video package. Both men talked about, what they're going to do to become double champion. Cole, went on his normal stuff about being the greatest NXT champion ever. He says the same thing every single week. It doesn't bother me, but you guys know the drill with Cole. He just hammers it into your soul like, I'm the greatest NXT champion of all time. He lets you know. This is what he believes, and it probably is true. Lee's going to be like, it doesn't matter if Cole is undisputed. I am unstoppable. So it's going to be interesting to see. If I have to pick a winner, I'm going with Adam Cole. But my bet is Karrion Kross is going to interfere in this match. You can also who knows, maybe Finn Balor or, Johnny Gargano. Maybe one of those two will get involved. I don't know. But we'll just have to wait and see till next week. But, all right, it was about 9:30 at this point, and I thought, they did announce that Sasha and Io Shirai were going to happen with no commercial breaks. So I thought, give them, 20 to 30 minutes. Unfortunately, we only got 15 minutes, and it was great, especially since there was no commercials. But I really do wish that they would have gave them that 30 minutes, especially since they gave that to the Fatal 4-Way match to open the show to determine Io Shirai's #1 contender for her title. But we see Santos Escobar. He came out. He talked about the legacy of Lucha Libre and all this other stuff. Backstage, there was a brawl between Candice LeRae and Mia Yim. We saw Isaiah Scott try to break it up. Johnny Gargano pulled him away. He says, "Don't touch my wife." So it looks like we're going to get a Johnny Gargano and Isaiah Scott match maybe next week. We'll just have to wait and see on that. But back to Santos Escobar. Santos talked about, changing the perception of Lucha Libre. Drake Maverick came out. You guys remember a couple weeks ago, Escobar put Maverick through a table. Escobar did put Maverick through a table, and he had a neck brace on tonight to sell those effects, but he took the neck brace off, ran down to the ring, and it looked like the same thing that happened a couple weeks ago was going to happen to Maverick again. But Breezango came down to make the save, and it was announced that next week we'll be getting a 6-man tag: Escobar and Mendoza and Wildy going up against Fandango, Tyler Breeze, and Drake Maverick. All right. So, here's my problem with this. All right. Did we really need this segment? Did we really need this segment to build up next week? All right. I think all of us at this point, after the strap match, after the Adam Cole and Keith Lee video package, we were all just waiting for Sasha versus Io. All right. That's what all of us was waiting for, right? But instead, you got us here waiting for that match, and instead it's like you're just building up, night 2. It's like they announced like 3 matches for night 2 in the span of 10 minutes. You announced Candice LeRae versus Mia Yim in the street fight. You announced Escobar and his guys against Breezango and Drake Maverick. And then you also talked about Keith Lee versus Adam Cole. I have no problem with building up Keith Lee versus Adam Cole. It's going to be fantastic. It's one of the biggest matches in the history of NXT. But at the end of the day, let's be serious here. Nobody cared for this segment. I'm happy for Drake Maverick, and I feel like eventually when we see Drake Maverick versus Escobar, it's going to be a great match. But did you really need to take time away from Sasha Banks and Io Shirai for this? This segment was like 6-7 minutes. It was a short segment, but this 6 or 7 minutes could have easily gone to Sasha Banks and Io Shirai and let them go over that 20-minute mark. I feel like we all agree with that. Like, let's be honest here. Let's be honest here. I just didn't care for this segment because I just wanted us to get to Sasha Banks and Io Shirai. All right, that's all. If they did this earlier in the show, or if they did this a couple weeks back, whatever, I would have gave it more care. But at this point, I just no. It was just felt like a rush just to build up night 2. All right. I would have much rather give us Io versus Sasha and then announce this either earlier or at the very end of the show. But getting into the main event, I talked about this mostly in the opening of the podcast tonight. We had Io Shirai versus Sasha Banks, a big dream match for a lot of fans. We have been waiting for this all week since it was announced. Sasha versus Io was trending on Twitter. So wrestling fans were hyped for this. 2 of the best female wrestlers in the world. You guys know I think Sasha is the best female wrestler in the world. I say it every single podcast. This match was going to be good. Yeah, this we knew this match was going to be good, but excuse me. Like I said, I just wish the match got more time. It was 15 minutes and it was amazing. And thank God we didn't have any commercial breaks. If we had a commercial break, that would have really pissed me off. Really did. But the fact that we didn't get any commercial breaks, these 2 went on. This was very fast paced, especially since there was only about 17 minutes left in the show. I was a little bit angry because WWE did stall, trying to build up night 2 of of the Great American Bash next week. But like I said, Sasha came out in a car with her dog. Absolutely incredible. They had Great American Bash gear, red, white, and blue. Loved it. Io came out in her normal attire and entrance, unfazed at all. And, they just went up against each other, and it was great. Great. This was back and forth. Sasha dominated the first part. Io dominated the second part of the match. But Sasha was hitting her with kicks and forearms. Io Shirai was struggling to keep up with Sasha. And one of the best parts of this match, maybe the best part, Sasha hit a double knees. Io kicked out. Then Io was on the middle rope on the apron. Sasha hit her with a huge knee to the face. And then Sasha did a sunset flip power bomb into the plexiglass. And the thing is, I get scared anytime a superstar does a sunset flip, because I always think about how Seth Rollins blew out his knee back in 2015 when he was WWE champion. But Sasha did a sunset flip over the ring apron, and she powerbombed Io hard into the plexiglass. But then we get back into the ring. Io caught Sasha into a crossface. So you could call this Io's kind of her own version of the bank statement. Then we see Bayley. Bayley threw her tag team championship in the ring to distract the referee. Then Bayley hit Shirai with a forearm. I thought this distraction would be enough to get Sasha the victory. I would have been shocked if Sasha won. But I knew what was going to happen. I predicted this on the Monday Night Raw review. With all the chaos that was happening, Asuka appeared from under the ring, and she hit Sasha with the green miss. I knew Asuka was going to appear. Sasha did pin Asuka clean in the Monday Night Raw tag team match, and the reason why I didn't have a problem with that really is we all know Asuka's beating Sasha. And we know the bigger story here is Sasha versus Bayley, hopefully at SummerSlam. But we knew Asuka was going to appear to get some kind of payback. And this helps, push the story between Sasha and Asuka. Sasha and Asuka at Extreme Rules is going to be incredible. I believe it should be in the main event of Extreme Rules. Hopefully, we'll just see if WWE goes down that route. It should be the route they go down. But we see Sasha with the green mist. Sasha got the green mist all over her face. Man, it was crazy. We've seen Becky and Charlotte get hit with the green mist. We see Nikki Cross get hit with the green mist. Now add Sasha to the top of that list. Crazy. How long till Bayley gets hit with the green mist? But then Io tried to roll up Sasha. Sasha still was able to kick out. But Sasha couldn't see, so Io hit her with a kick. Then she did the Shirai moonsault for the win. 1, 2, 3. So Io, in her first match as NXT Women's Champion, she beat Sasha. I'm fine with it because Sasha was clearly distracted by Asuka and the green mist she couldn't see. So it was a fantastic match. Sasha and Io still look strong. Sasha and Bayley go up the ramp. Sasha's pissed off. Sasha's going to be looking for payback. One thing, that's going to be interesting is we still have 2 weeks till Extreme Rules. We still have 2 more Monday Night Raws. So it's going to be interesting to see if Sasha gets payback on Asuka for the green miss. Sasha did tweet something. Like I said, Sasha's going to be looking for payback on Asuka. Sasha did tweet, "You're welcome, Io Shirai. This isn't over, but Asuka, we're just getting started." So if WWE wants, and I know nobody would complain, I don't think we're going to see this next week for the Great American Bash Night 2, even though it would be amazing, especially to start off the show. You could do Sasha versus Bayley as the tag team champions, go up against Asuka and Io Shirai in a tag team championship match. And you could use this, either to build more tension between Sasha and Bayley while keeping the titles on Sasha and Bayley. Like I said, none of this would be happening if WWE never gave Sasha and Bayley those tag team titles, because they wouldn't be allowed to go on Monday Night Raw or NXT. And Sasha and Bayley have done a fantastic job elevating those tag team championships. All right. Like I said, WWE should never took the titles off them at WrestleMania last year and gave them to the Iconics. Look how good the tag team titles look on Sasha and Bayley. The women's division is doing really well right now because of Sasha and Bayley. They're easily the best thing in the entire company right now. You really think we would have got Sasha versus Io and those titles were on Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross or the freaking Iconics? Don't give me any of that nonsense, all right? If I'm WWE, I would capitalize on this. If they want, they could do this on Monday Night Raw. They could do this on NXT. I would do Asuka and Io Shirai going up against Sasha Banks and Bayley for the tag team championships. They can do that anytime during the next 2 weeks. We still have 2 full weeks of WWE TV before we get to Extreme Rules. And Sasha versus Asuka, the hype is building for this match at Extreme Rules. Right now, there is no stipulation on the match. They might make it a submission match. I've been hearing some rumors about that. But I don't think the match needs any stipulation. But right now, man, Sasha versus Asuka, man, I am hyped as hell for that. Sasha versus Io was great tonight. I just wish it got a little bit more time. But beggars can't be choosers. But Either way, a fantastic match, a really good night one for NXT Great American Bash. I didn't watch any of AEW tonight because I was so focused on Sasha versus Io. I will check that out, but I would predict NXT would win the ratings this week. But at the end of the day, who really cares? At the end of the day, the ratings don't matter. But NXT Great American Bash night one, it was a good show. Sasha versus Io was fantastic. I just wish they got a little more time. Let me know in the comment section what you guys thought of NXT tonight. Let me know what you guys thought of Sasha versus Io Shirai. Fantastic match, one of the best female wrestling matches all year. Definitely just wish I got more time once again. I keep saying that because that's the way I feel, but it built towards Sasha and Asuka, and I'm excited to see where they go with this going forward. Other than that, guys, that's all I got for you guys today. Thank you guys for listening to the Legit Shoot podcast here tonight. You guys are amazing. Thank you guys for all the new subscribers, all the support. I love you guys. Also, if you guys are new to the channel, leave a like. It pushes the video into the recommended section, so the more likes, the better. Subscribe if you guys are new to the channel, and enable notifications by clicking the bell next to my name, Fitzmonk TV, so you guys are notified every time I post a new video. All right, make sure to follow me on social media. I love live tweeting with you guys as always. I'll see you guys back here in just a couple days for SmackDown. All right, continue to stay safe and healthy. Hopefully you guys have a fantastic July 4th. Remember, we're still in a pandemic. Don't do anything stupid, guys. Your health and safety comes first. God bless, guys. Thank you guys so much. I'll see y'all later.